All right, Part 7.
好，第7堂课，
Interpreting Old Testament Law.
解释旧约的律法。
When I was a young Christian,
当我初信的时候，
and I tried to read through the whole Bible,
我设想要把整本圣经读完。
I read through Genesis and loved it.
我读了创世纪，我很喜欢啊。
Read through the first half of Exodus and was doing pretty good.
前半部的出埃及记也挺不错的啊。
Then I got to those laws in Exodus,
然后到了埃及记后半部那些律法啊，哎呀，
and I started slowing down.
我就开始慢下来了。
Then I got to Leviticus,
然后到了利未记，哎呦，
and I decided the New Testament's for me.
我说我看新约吧。
What do you do with these laws?
这些律法什么意思呢？你怎么解释呢？
Let's look at some.
好，我们看看那些旧约的律法。
Exodus 34:26.
34章26节说到，不可用山羊羔母的奶煮山羊羔。
Is that really helpful for us today?
这跟今天有什么关系呢？
Can we really get something about how to live our lives from this verse?
我们从这节经文里头可以得到一些什么生活的原则和标准呢？
What about Leviticus 19:19?
利未记的19章19节，我们读啊，不可用2样掺杂的种种你的地，也不可用2样掺杂的料做衣服穿在身上。
When I teach this in a classroom,
当我在课室里头教这个，
I'll have a student look at someone's tag,
我教人看看他的衣服那个牌子，
and usually we have two kinds of material
通常都是2种掺合的，
in their clothes.
他们衣服都是什么棉啊什么
And
的，
I will start yelling at the student,
我就
"You sinner!
你这些罪人呐、我就喊了，
Why aren't you obeying this verse?"
你怎么不听神的话呢？
Deuteronomy 22:12.
我们再看申命记22章12节，你要在所披的外衣上四围做，
Tassels.
就是这个穗子。
Now, you almost have tassels right there,
你这里衣服上好像有穗子啊，
but not exactly.
那这不是完全像穗子啊，
Why don't we wear tassels? You're not wearing tassels.
我没有穗子啊，
I'm not wearing
我们
tassels.
都没穗子啊，
This doesn't count.
这个不算穗子。
Why aren't we obeying these laws?
为什么我们要遵行这些律法呢？
We consistently violate Old Testament laws.
我们总是违背旧约的律法。
Deuteronomy 14:8.
申命记14章第8节，猪因为是分蹄却不倒嚼，就与你们不洁净。这些瘦的肉你们不可吃，死的也不可摸。
I like bacon.
我喜欢猪肉啊，
I love ham.
我喜欢那个猪腿肉，特别香啊。
We ignore some verses,
我们忽略一些经文，不去遵行，
but we embrace others.
但我们却抓住另外一些经文。
Leviticus 19:18.
在利未记的19章18节说，却要爱人如己，我是耶和华。
So we'll say that we have to do this verse,
所以我们说必须要遵行这个诫命啊，
but we can ignore the
那
others.
其他的我们要忽略掉。
What's the basis for doing one and ignoring the
为
other?
什么我们接受一部分却拒绝另一部分？这个根据何在呢？
Exodus 20:13.
出埃及记20章13节，不可杀人。
Does this apply today?
今天还适用吗？
I hope so.
但愿如此啊，
Yes, it
当
applies.
然适用了。
But on what basis?
那根据什么？
How can we ignore one?
为什么我们不
And embrace
管
another.
这些，却管这些呢？好，
Deuteronomy 5:18.
申命记5章18节，不可奸淫。
Does this one apply?
这一段经文今天还
My
适
wife
用
says
吗？
it does,
我妻子说适用，
and I agree.
我同意，我也同意。
So how do we decide which laws to keep
我们怎么决定哪些律法必须还要遵守，
and which to ignore?
哪些可以就忽略它，不管它？
Should we really ignore any?
我们应不应该跳过任何一条律法呢？
These are words of God.
这是神的话啊，
Do we ignore words of God?
我们可以忽略神的话吗？
So which ones are valid
哪一些是今天仍然适用的，
and which are not valid?
哪一些无效了？
Many Christians today
今天很多基督徒啊，
make this decision
做决定呢，
based merely
是仅仅根据
on whether a law seems to be relevant.
这个律法呢跟今天有没有关系，我就决定要不要接受它。
But this haphazard approach
这个要那个不要那个跌跌撞撞的这种方法，
to interpreting the Old
要
Testament
解释
law
经文的旧约的律法的话呢，
is inadequate.
是不足够的、不充足的。
So now,
好，现在呢，
I want to talk to you about
我要讲的是
what I call the traditional approach,
我称之为传统的解经法啊，解释律法的方法。
an approach I do not agree with,
我不同意啊，
but is the most common way that this is.
但是大多数
Understood.
人最普遍接受就是这个方法。
It's called the tripartite law.
这个传统就是律法分为3个部分，
What people will do
老百姓怎么解释呢？
is they'll take all the laws,
他们把所有的律法，
there's 613 of them,
有613条律法，
and put them into one of 3 categories.
把这些条例呢放在3个不同的种类当中。
The moral law,
首先是道德律，
the civil law,
然后是政府律，
and the ceremonial law.
还有是有关仪式律，3种律
Let's
法。
define those.
好，我们来定义啊。
The moral law,
好，就是有关道德的律法。
those laws that deal with timeless truths
好，这些律法是有关永恒不变的、超时间的真理啊，
regarding God's intention for human ethical behavior.
就是神对人的道德的行为的目的，或者他的宗旨，永恒不变的一些道德定律，就是道德律。
They give as an example,
那他们给我们一些例子啊，他们说
love your neighbor as yourself.
要爱人如己啊，譬如这是永恒不变的道德定律。
The civil law.
好，第二就是政府的法令，就是典章、律例典章啊。
They would say that this refers to
他说这个呢，指的是
Israel's legal or governmental system.
就是以色列的法律或者是他们政府的制度，
These would be laws relating to
这些法令律例呢，有关
Land
有关土地啊，
criminal justice,
或者是犯罪刑事案件的法律呢，
economics,
还有关经济等等啊，
etc.
等等。
An example would be
例子，譬如
at the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts.
每7年到第7年，你必须取消所有的债务。
The ceremonial
好，
law.
第3是有关宗教形式的律法啊，
These laws deal with festivals,
这些有关于节期啊，还
sacrifices,
有献祭啊，
and priestly activities.
还有就是祭司的活动的这些律法啊。
So in the traditional approach,
所以这是传统的解释律法的方法啊。
the distinctions between these 3 types
这3种不同的律法的不同在哪呢？
are of the utmost importance.
最重要的是呢，
They would say
他们会说呢，
that the only method of knowing
你唯一能够知道
if a law applies today or not
这个律法今天适用不适用，今天还有没有效用呢？
would
决定
be,
的。
would be to place it in one of these 3
你
categories.
看看它在哪一个种类当中，你就知道它合用不合用了。今天
They would say that the moral laws
他们会说是，如果是道德律的话，道德定律
are universal.
是普世性的，而且是永久性的。
The civil and ceremonial laws
至于那些政府的法令呢，跟有关节期啊，或者是仪式的法令呢，
were only for Israel.
仅仅是以色列人适用，对我们就不适用了。
So they go through all 613 laws
所以他们就一条一条的看看这613条法令，
and place them into one of these
把
categories.
它们放在这3个种类当中的其中一个类中。
I don't like this approach.
我不喜欢这种归类法啊。
Have you ever heard this approach in China?
你中国有没有听过这种？
Let me try to give you reasons why I don't like it,
我告诉你为什么我不接纳这种解经法啊，
and then give you an alternative way
然后
to
再
do
给你
this.
另一个解释的方法。
First reason,
第一个原因，
the distinctions between the 3 types
你要分辨这3种是到底是哪一类呢？
are arbitrary.
是你个人主观的想法吗？
The category of moral,
你或者是道德律、
civil,
政
ceremonial
府律，或者是宗教仪式律，
are man-made
都
categories.
是人自己发明的3种不同的种类。
The Old Testament does not list the laws that way.
这旧约圣经并没有把它们归成这3类嘛。
In one verse,
一节经文里头，
you can have a law that would be considered moral
其中有一些是有关道德的，
and a law considered ceremonial.
有一些是有关宗教仪式的，
They're all mixed together,
他们有时候都穿插在一块儿的，
like
不
the
能分别。
materials of my clothing.
譬如说这衣服的什么料子，
They're mixed.
这是混合的。
So which law goes into which
所
category?
以哪一个律法是在哪一类当中，怎么归类，本身很主观。
A guy named Hayes says,
有一个叫做黑的人呐、
because the Mosaic law defined the covenant relationship,
因为摩西的律法是把我们的约的关系
between God
定
and
义，
Israel,
是神跟以色列的约的关系在相定义，
it was by nature theological.
所以它的本性本质就是一个神学性的。
All the law had theological content.
所以所有的律法其实都有它的神学的内容。
So if you look at a law like the Sabbath,
譬如说你说守安息日这条啊，
people will ask,
有人就会问了，
is it moral,
到底守安息日是道德律呢，还是
ceremonial,
节期
or
这个
civil?
宗教律呢，还是政府的规律？
Some would say that it's clearly a part of worship,
有人会说这很明显嘛，守安息日这是敬拜的，
so it's ceremonial.
所以这是宗教仪式的定律。
Some say it's in the Ten Commandments,
有人说这在十诫当中啊，
and because it's in the Ten
因为在
Commandments,
十诫里面
it must be moral
那一定是跟道德有
and
关系
universal，
也是普世性的，也是很久不变的。
Many people say
很多人还会说呢，
that the Ten Commandments apply and nothing else.
只有十诫我们需要遵守，其他旧约任何的律法我们都没必要遵守了，都过去了。
So the 603 other laws don't apply, just the 10.
所以其他603条都跟我们没关系，只有这十诫我们必须要遵行律法。
But yet we still claim Leviticus 19:18,
但是我们仍然说，利未记的19章16节，
love your neighbor as
爱
yourself,
人如己，我们还是要遵行啊。
as a law we should follow.
我们今天仍然还是适用啊。
The Sabbath is also problematic
这个安息日呢，这真是很有问题啊。
for those who say that they keep it today.
今天如果还守安息日，他们就很难解释了。
Most that I talk to
大多数跟我谈过的人啊，
don't really keep it.
都不遵行这个安息日这一条了。
Going to church
去礼拜堂
is not Sabbath keeping.
不是在守安息日啊，
The Sabbath was not on Sunday.
因为安息日不是礼拜天，
The Sabbath was not necessarily on what we call Saturday.
也不见得是我们认为的礼拜六，
It was Friday night at sunset
而是礼拜五从太阳下山
to Saturday night at sunset.
一直到礼拜六太阳下山，这个叫做安息日，犹太人的安息。
Day 1 and day 7 cannot be substituted.
所以不管是礼拜一或者礼拜天都不能够代替安息日。
In Numbers 15,
还有在民数记第15章，
if you broke the Sabbath,
如果你触犯了安息日，
you were to be put to death.
你就要被处死啊！
Do we want that law to apply?
我们要不要今天还用这条律令？
So we'll take half the law,
如果我们只用一半的律法，
the idea of keeping the Sabbath,
你要守安息日，
but not the punishment that comes from breaking it.
但是你却不照着这段律法来惩罚那些不守安息日的人，
We need to be more consistent.
你这样子就前后不一致了嘛。
Number 2,
好，第二，
we need to interpret the legal material, the laws,
我们需要解释这些律法，
within the narrative that they come in.
我们要根据它的当时的历史的背景来解释。
The traditional approach
但是呢，这传统解释律法的方法，
that has these 3
他
categories
们把它分成这3个不同的种类呢，
fails to do this.
并没有考虑到它的上下前后的历史背景。
Too often we pick out a law,
往往我们随便把一节经节抽出来，
take it out of its narrative context,
不看它的历史背景，
and then talk about it.
然后我们就解释这条条例。
But from Genesis through 2 Kings,
但是从创世纪一直到王下，
the law
律法
is part of the theological narrative
是当时的神学的历史背景。
of God delivering his people from Egypt
神怎么样子拯救他的百姓从埃及出来，
and giving them the land.
给他们迦南地，他的应许地。
When you take a law out of its context,
当你把这个律法从当时的历史背景抽出来，
you're going to distort it.
你就把这个历史背景都忽略掉了，都毁掉了。
You need to leave it in its narrative context.
我们必须把这个律法放在当时的背景中，历史的
Number 3,
环境中。好，第3点，
the traditional approach
这传统的解经法、解释律法的方法，
overlooks the law's theological context.
也忽略了律法当时的神学背景。
Exodus 19:5.
出埃及记的19章第5节，如今你们若实在听从我的话，遵守我的约，就要在万民中做属我的子民，因为全地都是我的。
That verse
好，这段经文呢，
occurs just before
发生在
the giving of the Ten Commandments.
神颁布十诫之前，
Then God gives them the law,
然后神就颁布了十诫，
and in Exodus 24:3,
然后在出埃及记24章第3节呢，
the Israelites agreed
以色列人就同意，
to the terms
他就同意要遵行十诫，
of the Old Covenant.
就是旧约要遵行旧约。24章第3节，摩西下山将神的命令典章都述说与百姓听，百姓齐声说：耶和华的吩咐，我们都必遵行。他们答应要遵行。
Then Moses
然后摩西呢，
sealed the Old Covenant
就封住旧约的律法，
in blood.
就用血来印证
In
律
verse
法。
8.
第八节他说到，摩西将血洒在百姓身上，说：看哪，这是立约的血，是耶和华按这一切话与你们立约的凭据。
So the Mosaic law
所以摩西的律法呢，
is tightly tied
是紧紧相连。
to the Mosaic covenant.
摩西的约跟摩西的律法是息息相关的。
Let's look at some aspects
我们来看看一些层面啊，
of how connected
他们什么关系？
the Mosaic law is with the Mosaic covenant.
好，摩西的律法跟摩西的约有什么关系？怎么紧密相连？
First,
首先呢，
the Mosaic covenant
摩西的
is close
约
is closely associated with Israel's conquest
跟以色列人征服迦南地，
and occupation of the land.
跟他们征服、攻取迦南地是息息相关的。
So when I talk about the land,
所以当我讲到这块地的时候，
I mean Israel.
我指的是以色列啊。
Some people call it
有
Palestine
人今天称之为巴勒斯坦啊，
or the Holy Land.
或者是圣地。
I could read to you about 15 to 20 verses
我可以跟你读15到20节的经文啊，
that specifically connect the keeping of the law with the land.
把遵守律法和迦南地两个关系放在一起的。我可以读很多经文给你听，这两个是息息相关的。
For example,
譬如啊，
the laws on tithing.
譬如说11奉献的律例啊，
The tithe comes from the land,
这11奉献是从这块土地中取来的，
but only crops that come from the land of Israel.
但是只有从以色列这块土地所生产的东西要取1/10来奉献，
Because God gave the land to Israel,
因为神把这块土地赐给以色列人，
except for the Levites.
除了利未人啊，
Instead of getting the land, they get the tithe.
利未人呢，他们不承受地土，他们得到是1/10的奉献，他们不承受地土为基业。
So the Mosaic covenant is not geographically neutral.
所以摩西的约啊，不是在地理上是中立的。
So here's the principle.
好，这里原则在这啊，
The Mosaic covenant
摩西的约
was a specific manifestation
是一个很特定的彰显，
of eternal principles for a certain people during a certain time period in a certain place during a certain agreement.
所以旧约的这个约呢，是一个特定的一个民族，在一个特定的时间和一个特定的地点，在一个特定的一个约里头所彰显出来的一个永恒的原则。
So God's character is eternal.
因为神的本质是永恒的嘛，
When he gives the laws, he's giving manifestations of his character.
所以当他把他的律法颁布的时候，他其实是在彰显他永恒的性格。
The Mosaic covenant
在摩西的约中，
gave directions for living in the land in order to prosper.
告诉我们要吩咐我们当怎么样子在这块地图上生活，好叫他们能够兴旺。
So the connection between the land
所以 这块地土的关系，
and the covenant were extremely close.
地土和约的关系是息息相关的。
Number two, the blessings
好，那些祝福，
from the old covenant
这旧约
were
的祝
conditional.
福是有条件的啊，
Obedience brings blessing.
顺服就蒙福，
Disobedience brings curses.
不顺服就受咒诅。
People love to talk about the blessings.
我们都喜欢讲到这个祝福啊，祝福，
We don't enjoy talking about the
我们
curses.
不喜欢谈论这些咒诅。
I'm not going to read through the 68 verses,
我不用都读这64节经文啊，不用都读了。
but Deuteronomy 28,
申命记第28章
verses 1 through 14,
1到14节，
talk about the blessings that follow obedience.
讲到顺服会有哪一些祝福啊
And
？28
then
章，
verses 15 to 68
那么15到64节
discuss the curses that follow
又
disobedience.
讲到，当你不顺服的时候要受到什么咒诅。申命记啊，
And the more that we recognize
我们越看到
the conditional nature of the covenant,
这约是有条件性的啊，
the more problematic it becomes
我们就看到越多问题。
in applying it to today.
你把它用到今天，你就看到这真是你不可能运用不上。
3.
好，第3点，
The Mosaic covenant
摩西的约啊，
is no longer a functional covenant.
今天不再生效了，今天跟我们不起作用了。
Hebrews chapter 8 and 9
希伯来书呢，第8到9章
explains that the Mosaic covenant has been done away with.
告诉我们，摩西的约已经被废掉了。
Specifically,
尤其是
let's read Hebrews 8:13.
我们看希伯来书的第8章第13节啊，既说新约就是以前的约为旧了，但那渐旧渐衰的，就必快归于无有了。
That's a very strong verse.
这是个非常强烈的经文啊，
He makes the first one obsolete.
它使旧约废去了。
Since the Mosaic covenant is obsolete,
既然摩西的约已经被废了，
all the laws are part of an obsolete covenant.
所以所有的律法也在旧约那个要废去的约中也一起废掉。
So I don't like the three-part traditional approach.
所以我不喜欢传统的解释律法的那三种归类的方法啊，那不对的。
When someone asks me,
所以有人问我的话，
do the laws apply today?
今天那些律法还有效吗？
I answer like this.
我会这么回答：
None of them apply,
今天全部无效，
and all of them apply.
但是呢，全部都有效，同时有效。
Now if I can explain that.
好，让我解释一下什么意思呢？又有效又无效，什么意思？
None of them apply
好，他们都无效了，为什么呢？
in the way that they are taught in the Old Testament.
它不像旧约所教导这样子的可以生效，不是的，
Because
因为
we're not under the Old
我
covenant.
们今天不在律法之下呢，不在旧约之下了嘛。
But because they have theological principles underlying them,
但是另一方面，因为这些旧约律法本身有一些基本的要彰显的神学的原则、永恒的原则，
because God's laws are connected to his eternal character,
因为神的律法与他的本性，那永恒的本性息息相关，
they all apply.
所以这些律法跟我们息息相关，都有关系，都有效。
So the key again
所以这关键是
is getting to the underlying principle.
你要明白这些律法的基本的原则，那永恒的原则是什么。
So an appropriate approach will do the following.
所以你正确的解释律法应该这样做：第一，
It'll view all the Old Testament as God's inspired word,
所有的旧约都是神所漠视的，对不对？
does not rely upon non-textual categories, does not rely on man-made
所
categories.
以我们不需要像人把它分3个分类，不要用这些人的分类方法。
Places the laws into their narrative contexts,
我们要把律法放在它的历史的背景中，
maintains the theological context of the laws,
而且要维持律法的神学的上下文的背景，
and then tries to find corresponding teaching in the New Testament.
而且呢，同时要找到新约跟律法有关的这些经文。
We want to try to find New Testament verses
我们要找到一些新约的经文呢，
that support
能够支持
the theological principle
在律法中的神学的原则。
that we got from the Old Testament law.
在旧约的律法中神学原则。
So we return to our 5 steps.
好，我们再回到这5个步骤啊。
What did the law mean to the original audience?
好，这些律法对当时的读者有什么意义？
When we read a law,
当我读一节经文或者一条律法的时候，
we need to make sure that we read the context
我们要明白它的上下前后文当时历史背景啊。
so we understand the story surrounding the law.
所以我们要明白这个律法的当时发生的历史背景，发生了什么事情。
We want to ask questions like,
我们要问一些问题，好像譬如，
where were the Israelites when the law was given?
当这些律法被颁布的时候，以色列人在什么地方？
Were they at Sinai?
他们是不是在西乃山，
Were they on the banks of the Jordan?
或者在约旦河旁，
Were they in the wilderness?
或者在旷野里面？
We want to ask,
我们也要问，
was the law a response
这些律法是不是回应？
to a particular historical
是不
situation?
是因为当时的特殊的历史的情况呢？这是律法对他们的回应呢？神颁布律法回应他们呢？
To a story?
或者一个故事、一个历史事件，
Maybe something that had just been told?
或者刚刚告诉他们一些事情？
Was it intended for after they entered the Holy Land?
这律法是不是当他们进到了迦南地，神应许之地仍然有效呢？
See, sometimes the laws
有些时候这些律法
were only to be obeyed once they entered the Holy Land.
是叫他们进入了应许地，就是圣地之后才要遵行的。
The verse will say something like,
有些经文会说，譬如
when you enter the land I'm about to give you.
当你进入我要赐给你的应许地，那怎么样？怎么样？
Again demonstrating
再一次写明了
how closely connected
这什么关系啊？
the land
这块地图
and the laws were.
和神的律法之间的紧密关系，又一次写明了。
We want to ask the
我
question,
们要问的问题是，
are there connections
这些关系呢？
between the law we're interpreting
我们所要解释的这些律法
and the laws around it?
和当时的历史背景有什么关系？
We want to ask,
我们要问的是，
was the law related to their relationship with other people
好，这些律法跟他们跟别人相处有什么关系，
or their relationship with God?
或者跟神的关系有关系？
And always ask,
我们总要问啊，
how was it connected to the land?
这个律法跟这块地图有什么关系？
In the second step,
好，第二步啊，
we want to recognize the differences between our situation and theirs.
我们也要看到我们今天的境况跟他们当时的境况有什么不同。
And I'm going to give you some of those differences.
我给你一些例子啊，什么不同呢？
We are under a different covenant.
我们如今在一个不同的约下，新约。
We are not Israelites
我们不是犹太人嘛，
preparing to enter the Holy
我们
Land.
不是准备要进到圣地，
We are not agreeing to the Mosaic covenant.
我们不在律法之下，摩西的约下，
We don't approach God through animal
我们也
sacrifices.
不借着动物献祭、牲畜来与神亲近，
And we are definitely not under a theocracy.
我们也不在一个神主的国家里面，以色列中，
Big differences between them and us.
他们跟我们有很大的差异。
In step 3, we're looking for the theological principle.
好，第三步我们要看它里面的神学的原则，永恒不变的原则。
Remember that each law
记得每一条律例
was a manifestation
都在彰显
of God's eternal character.
神的永恒的属性，
So underlying the law
所以在这律法
is the eternal principle.
下面有一个基本的原则，
It's going to be timeless,
这个原则是
universal,
永恒不变、
and
放
applicable
诸四海皆准的，
applicable to people of God everywhere.
是神的百姓普世性的都适用的原则。
So let me give you some guidelines for the principles based on laws.
好，让我给你一些原则啊，里头有一些普世性的原则。
First, the principle should come from the text itself.
首先呢，这些原则必须是从这些经文本身里面你看出来的。
Second, it needs to be timeless.
第二呢，这也必须是永恒不变的，不受时间限制的。
Third, and this one's important,
好，第三呢，这也很重要啊，
it needs to conform to the theology
这些原则
of the rest of Scripture.
必须符合其他整本圣经的总原则，不能够背乎整本圣经。
Fourth,
第四点，
it should be worded in such a way that it's not bound by culture.
这些原则它 所表达的方式呢，是不受文化的区域所限制的，是有普适性的应用性。
And finally,
好，最后一点呢，
you should be able to apply it to both Old and New Covenant believers.
好，这些原则呢，不仅是旧约适用，新约也适用，是有普适应用性。
Almost all the principles from the laws
几乎所有的律法中的原则里面的永恒的原则，
will fall in one of the following 4 categories.
会归类于下面4类当中其中之一。
Number 1,
第一，
the character of God,
它会显明神的属性、神的本性。
typically related to his holiness.
最典型的是有关神的圣洁的属性。
Many of the laws,
很多的律法啊、条例，
especially in Leviticus,
特别是在利未记里头，
are there to teach us about God's holiness.
是为了教导我们神的圣洁而颁布的。
The second category
第二个
is
类
to teach us about
是教导我们
the nature of sin.
有关罪的问题啊，不洁净。
The third category
第三个种类呢，
are issues of obedience.
是有关顺服的问题。
And the fourth category
好，第4类呢，
is concern for other people.
是有关爱、关心别人的，爱人如己的。
Step 4,
好，第4个步骤，
find the New Testament teaching that matches the principle.
你要从新约里头呢，找到一些教训跟这些律法中的永恒性的原则是符合的。
So there's a law in the Old Testament
所以在旧约里头有这么一条，你的牛啊伤了人了，
and if you own the ox
如果你是主人啊，
and it injures or kills another person,
你的牛伤了人或者杀了别人，
the law says that you're responsible.
律法说你就有责任了。
You didn't do it,
虽然你没有做，
but your animal did.
你的牲畜干了。
So one of the principles you can get from that
其
law
中你可以得到的一个原则就是从这条律法归纳的原则就是，
is you need to be responsible for your stuff.
你需要对你所拥有的东西负责任。
There's a law in the Old Testament
在旧约有一条律法，还有一条律法
that talks about putting a fence around the roof of your house.
讲到在你的房顶上你要有围墙啊。
Now, in America,
在美国啊，
we don't hang out on roofs.
我们通常不会在房顶上走啊，
But in Israel,
但在以色列，
a lot of the roofs of the houses were flat,
很多的房顶都是平的，
and people would go up there
老百姓会上去，
and would commonly be on the roofs.
他常常都会在房顶上，
So the reason you'd put the fence on the roof
所以你的房顶要做桅杆呢，
was in case someone was up there
所以免得有人上去了，
so they wouldn't fall off.
免得他们跌下来。
It's a way to love your neighbor.
这是爱人如己嘛，这是一个爱人的方式。
The fence around the roof
上
of
面
the
的桅杆
house
呢，房顶上的桅杆
is applying the principle
是把这个原则，就是爱的原则
of
应用
loving your neighbor as yourself.
运用出来，爱人如己嘛。
We can find correlation in the New Testament.
我们在新约里头也看到同样的一个关系，息息相关的原则。
Jesus says,
耶稣说
love your neighbor as yourself.
你要爱人如己。
In fact, Jesus quotes
其实耶稣就引用
6 of the 10 commandments,
10条诫命当中的6条，
and 9 of the 10
其中9条呢，
are repeated in the New Testament,
全部都在新约里头用上了。
with the only one that's controversial
有唯一一条有争议
being
性
the
的，
Sabbath.
就是守安息日这条10诫里头唯一一条争议性的。
If an Old Testament law
如果一条旧约的律法
is repeated in the New Testament,
在新约里头又重复了引用了，
then it's going to apply to us.
那跟我们就息息相关，跟我们肯定有关系，我们要遵行。
But the reason that it applies to us
之所以旧约的律法跟新约的信徒我们也要应用，要跟我们有关系，
is because it's repeated in the New Testament,
是因为在新约里头它重复了嘛。
because we are not under the Mosaic covenant.
我们不在旧约律法之下，
When a law
当一条律
is
例
repeated in the New Testament,
在新约里头重复了，
it applies to us,
跟我们有关系，我们要遵行。
not because it was in the Old Testament,
不是因为它在旧约里，所以我们要遵行，乃是因为
but because it is in the New Testament.
是在新约里，
Because the old covenant, the Mosaic covenant,
因为这个旧约就是摩西的律法，
doesn't apply to Christians directly.
跟基督徒没有直接的关系，已经废掉。
The way that Old Testament scholar Hayes said it,
一位旧约的学者说，
he says, the validity and authority as a command
这条经文是否有效，是否有权威，
comes from the New Testament
是从新约而来的，
and not the Old Testament.
而不是从旧约而来的。我们不在旧约之下，
So the Mosaic law forbade adultery.
所以摩西律法不允许奸淫。
Jesus agreed with this,
主耶稣也同意，
but expanded it
但是他还扩展了这
to
条，
include thoughts about adultery,
他甚至包括了有这些谐音的思想也在内，
lust.
这就是不好的念头。
So now adultery and lust,
所以现在
lustful thoughts
不
are
仅
condemned.
仅是行动上的奸淫，而且思想上的淫念都违背律法。
So then what we do
好，我们做的是，
is we take the new principle
我们把这些新的原则，
and we apply it to our life today.
我们运用在我们身上。
The same process we did with the letters.
我们对这些书信也是同样的过程，也是这样应用这些原则。
Paul does this
保罗这么做，
in 1 Corinthians 9:9.
在哥林多前书9章9节，
We read that verse earlier,
我们刚刚读过了，
and it was actually a quote from the Old Testament,
这是从旧约引用而来的，
from Deuteronomy 25:4.
是从申命记5章第4节，哥林多前书9章9节，我读给大家听，说道：就如摩西律法记着说，牛在场上踹骨的时候，不可拢住它的嘴。难道神所挂念的是牛吗？不全是为我们说的吗？分明是为我们说的。
In the traditional approach,
好，在传统的解经啊，
that would not have been considered a moral law.
这不是道德律吗？牛，
It would have been civil.
这是有关政府的规律，
But
民间条
Paul
例。
uses that for teaching.
那保罗把这节经文呢用来教导了。
He was saying
他说，
that if oxen shouldn't be muzzled,
如果牛不应该把它嘴给拢住，
surely preachers of the gospel shouldn't be muzzled.
那么传道人的嘴也不应该被拢住。
The underlying principle
它下面的基本原则
was
是，
that workers deserve their pay.
就是工人得工价是应当的，
Oxen deserved food,
牛配得食物，
and preachers deserved to be paid.
那传道人也应该得工价。
So he was using this method
所以他用这个方法，
in Deuteronomy, in 1 Corinthians 9,
在哥林多前书第9章啊，
when he used Deuteronomy 25.
当他引用申命记25章第4节啊，
So that's how I can say
所以我可以说呢，
none of the laws apply,
所有的律法跟我们都没关系的，从一个角
but they
度，
all do.
但跟我们也息息相关，
Does that make sense?
明白吗？